What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi, Eric Sheetaber. We're going to be talking through this Tuesday 4-game slate. As far as some of my content and stuff, it's going to be a little hit or miss this week, but on exactly when I get it all out. But I'll do my best every day. And obviously, in basketball, things change all the time, and I'll try to do my best after lock. But there's going to be some nights where I have some obligations this week. Anyway, Sheets.
I'm on it. Don't worry. It's everybody just has to be. It's a little bit. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah, as long as everybody could just be, just everybody's gonna be flexible with the timing of everything. But I usually post in the Discord when what the schedule is gonna be. It's an extremely busy week for me, but I do get everything done. Just so everybody just bear with that. We've been doing some process stuff. We've been doing lineup builds. I did like a 4-course tasting menu, let's say, at like 5:30 last night. I built all 4 sports live. Yeah, so we'll make it work, and I'm still getting the MMA stuff down. There's Breeders' Cup this weekend at Del Mar, so we are going to do that. All kinds of stuff. And just so you know, at some point during this, I might have to scoot out for like 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
It'll be maybe with any luck, I'll know, but probably like in about a half an hour. But we'll see. We'll see how we do, I guess.
All right, cool. Well, we'll go game by game and see if we can't get it knocked out of here.
Yeah.
Kind of a funny slate, like a lot of injuries, some value, but not like extreme value, and only you've got some spend ups you'd want to get to. So it's going to be interesting to see how the builds work tonight.
Are you sharing, or do you want me to share my?
Do you want to share it? Is it okay?
It doesn't matter to me. Hold on.
Okay.
Well, let me get this up here. Let me find. Okay. Yeah, yesterday was the Paolo Banchero show.
Yeah, that guy's really taken a big leap. I think this is the we're going to be talking about him as a top 15.
I think I have seen it, but 58 fantasy points in the first half. That's legit.
Yeah, the game line was ridiculous. 50, 13 and 9. Like, that's pretty wild.
Didn't even make a triple double, huh?
Yeah, didn't quite get there. I guess he just scored too much. But yeah, I think it's an interesting. This is going to be an interesting one. Which game do you have first up there? I see
Denver, Brooklyn.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you start this one off real quick? Because I'm there we go.
Well, I mean, not to bury the lead or anything, but it's like all the chalk and value is going to come from Golden State. So anything that you could do that's different than that, you're going to be unique. But remember, NBA is not like that. You have to eat chalk like probably more than you otherwise would. But Brooklyn, I do like a couple of things. I like Dennis Schroeder at 6K. I like Cam Johnson at 5,200. That's not bad. And Denver, I mean, I have Christian Braun at 4,400 as a little bit of value over there. Jamal Murray looked really, really good and didn't do anything. Was it yesterday or the day before? He was like projecting as like one of the best plays on the slate, and just didn't do much. So those are the value pieces. And as far as just spend ups, obviously Jokic, if you can get to him, great. And you actually might be able to with some of the Golden State stuff. So that's kind of what I think about these guys.
Yeah, I if you can get to Jokic, I think you could really like almost flip a coin between Jokic and Luka, but I do think Jokic has to carry a lot more of a load in general than Luka's had to. And actually, Jokic just had to do a lot more scoring than he's done in years past, just so far this season for them to even be competitive. This is I'm very worried about this Denver team in general, but Jokic is so great. So he's the. I don't know why the price hasn't gone up on Christian Braun. He's playing the minutes. He's putting up the numbers. I mean, just on its face, he's what is he averaging right now? He's averaging 29 fantasy points a game so far. And he's 4,400, and I don't see why this would be any different. So I think Christian Braun is an excellent source of value, even though there is other value out there. And I think so. I have Jokic on that side, and then on the other side, you've got the Clowney thing. I don't know what I want to do with that yet. You've got Schroeder. I don't know what I want to do, if anything, with that. I think that's a reasonable play, but I'm not sure how much I want to commit to it. Cam Johnson is the same 5,200 he always is, and if he gets hot, it's a good play. If not, you're not looking at much. But the one I'm most interested in is Cam Thomas, especially with no Simmons in general. My season-long bet on him winning, getting the it's that the odds are already cut in half from him to be the scoring leader of the league. So at least I feel like it was a wise bet.
So he's off to a good start.
He's averaging 31 a game. He's third in the league. So he's certainly in the mix. But I like Cam Thomas tonight. So he would be Thomas, Jokic, and Braun would be my favorites as of right now. I may end up adjusting that as we go through the slate. All right, Dallas and Minnesota.
Dallas and Minnesota. I don't have too much. So I guess same comment on Conley. Although I mean, DraftKings is making it tempting. With Conley. I mentioned earlier in the season that I thought his role was going to be a little reduced. He wouldn't be getting that many minutes, but 4,400 is 4,400. So he's still showing up, and he's showing up as a pretty decent point per dollar play. So I'll just leave it at that. Anthony Edwards always has upside. I like him at 8,900. And then I don't have anybody on Dallas that's showing up for me except for Luka. Do you like anything in? Oh, excuse me, Kyrie still is too cheap at 7,700. I think.
Yep. I think that's right.
Yeah, so that's what I like.
So I have it as Luka or Kyrie, and I think that it feels pretty good to play one of them. And I think Kyrie and Luka are both not going to get very much ownership tonight. The offense hasn't really been putting on the same display that maybe some people thought would be there. But my priorities for this game, I like Edwards, and I think it's smart to get one of Randall or Reed. I will take the Randall side of it. I think a little bit. He's been productive enough. He's 7,600. He's 40 a game so far. That's reasonable. Not like an maybe instead of playing like the Luka Jokic lineups, maybe playing like Kyrie and then Luka and Edwards. I mean, playing like Kyrie on one side and Randall on the other, I think is a way to get a little bit different and save some money in this game. Not that different, but a little bit enough. And I think it's worth taking flyers in general on Derek Lively. I keep mentioning that he's going to have a breakout year, and he's been terrific so far. It's really just a matter of what type of game it is, whether he gets in foul trouble. But 5,000 might be like we might be playing him at like 65, 7K by the end of the year. And I just think that I want to be ahead on that kind of stuff. So I will go back to the Derek Lively as another piece there for this. But that's what I like here. All right. Sacramento. I don't know. Which one do you have next? It's
Sacramento, Utah next. And I'm getting a good projection on John Collins at 5,400. In addition to that, Sabonis from the other side of this looks okay. What else? Fox 8,500. He's projecting okay. That's really the top guys. I mean, I'm not really getting much anything else.
I'm trying to figure out, and I'm a little behind because I hadn't been paying as much attention. I'm trying to figure out where the Collins seems like I think it's totally reasonable. He's cheap enough. It makes sense. But why isn't Walker Kessler the guy who we're talking about?
Just because he's cheaper, I guess, Collins. I don't know.
Just by a little bit. You know what I mean? And Kessler has a wider range of outcomes, but I think that he has a much higher ceiling. And I don't know if it's much higher. He has a higher ceiling. I'll say that. So I would just put Kessler or Edwards as my way of looking at that. I'm sorry, Kessler or Collins. God, man, I got to get my head straight. Kessler or Collins, I think are both very, very reasonable plays on the Utah side. Obviously, I have no issue with Lauri Markkanen at 8K. That seems totally reasonable, but not like overwhelmingly excited about anybody else on this side. Of course, Clarkson and Keontae George, it could be could have solid games, but it's just not like I'm desperate to get there. It does seem like a really good game environment. On the Sacramento side, always hard to pick which way to go, but I like this matchup a lot for Sabonis, and I think it's a really good spot to again, if you're not spending all the way up, maybe Sabonis is one of the other guys you look at. And I again want to throw out that I think it's going to be a double center night for me. Just as far as it goes, there's a lot of guys we've mentioned before. I've got 5 guys who are centers that are circled out of the 10 guys I've got circled total. So if I could play 4 centers, I probably would tonight. Again, because the matchup and the pace and everything, I think that getting ahead on Fox or if you're multi-entering Murray, pretty much everybody, I would say, on the that plays a role, and no one's playing DeMar DeRozan, and I get it. DeMar DeRozan's always been that same sort of, but maybe that would be something you could do that's different on a 4-game slate, to play a little bit of DeMar, but mostly it's Sabonis and probably Fox, then Monk would be my next favorites for Sacramento.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great game yet. He projected like really, really well the other day. And I even tried like the going back to LA thing. He played 37 minutes. I don't know what else I could ask, you know.
And no, and he was incredibly efficient and great and everything, but he just didn't put up the numbers.
Well, zero rebounds is not happening too often, I don't think.
Yeah, 0 rebounds feels like a little bit of an outlier. But that is pretty weird to see. You know, he shoots 75% from the floor. He wasn't shooting nearly as much, and I think it's just his role in this offense. Maybe
not getting to the line either.
Yeah, exactly. And that's hopefully that will change for him. But just want to throw him out there as a potentially low-owned play because there aren't that many on this slate.
So all right, the 3 top values are the 3 guards from Golden State with Curry out. So Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and Buddy Hield. They all are going to gather ownership, and just classic NBA stuff. The guy with the ball every possession is now out of the game, and so the usage is going to get redistributed. Minutes are going to get redistributed, and that's just the way it is. So all 3 of these guys look really good. Zion would be my preferred guy from New Orleans, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, the problem with Golden State that always worries me about these value things, and as I've mentioned about them this year, they just have like 10 guys who are all good. And also, it's hard to get a realistic idea of projection in minutes because they won their first game by 37 or 36, and their next game by 41. So you really don't have a great feel for what's happening. So guys like Kuminga and Draymond are not going to project as well, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the ongoing case there. So I'm just open to both those guys. I do think that the priorities would be Pods, Moody for me. I don't mind if people want to play Gary Payton and Buddy Hield. Yeah, maybe he gets some more shots up. He's been off to a good start. He looks like he sort of found himself there in Golden State. He got a rough game the other night, but other than that, he played great the first 2 games. They just blew everybody out, so he couldn't put up the ceiling that you wanted. But yeah, you certainly probably want a minimum of 2 from Golden State tonight, especially considering the late swap and all that. Did you end up with anything from the Pelicans?
Yeah, I like Zion a little bit.
Yeah, I think Zion. And I think a low-owned Ingram is certainly worth taking a shot on. And same with McCollum, but they're not going to be priorities by any means. But I think Zion does stand out as being a guy I want to use some of. And
yeah, so this is actually kind of like low key my hero. This guy Jordan Hawkins.
He's been good.
So I didn't speak to you about this. So Sunday, kind of bailed myself out for the day. I actually won like a single entry tournament on NBA. On DraftKings, paid like $3,000 for first or something like that, and the way I did it, it was really funny. So I was looking at the lobby, and I was like a point or 2 ahead of like 27 people. They were all like kind of tied pretty much, and we all had Zubac, okay, who was smashing. So, and I was like wondering like why I was like so different than everybody else, and there was this Hawks value. This guy, he was valued last night too. I forget his name again. Some forward. Definitely a rookie. I've never heard of him before. Spelled weird. Whatever it was. And I missed it on Sunday to get to that Hawks guy who was like 45-50% owned. And I ended up with Hawkins instead of that Hawks guy. And Hawkins outscored him by 3 points or something like that. So that's basically what won me the tournament. Without me.
Well, I didn't see that you had won that one. I'm sorry. Which one?
No, this is one of the Showtime single entries.
Oh, nice.
For like 3,000 or something like that. Nice. But the Hawks, the guy on the you'll see him because he'll show up every time DeAndre Hunter's out. That same guy's going to show up again. Whoever the guy was. So Jordan Hawkins happened to have been my hero in that. So I don't know if I'm going to go back to him, but just figured I'd mention him.
Yeah, I think that he's a reasonable guy to take a shot on. They're giving him the minutes, and that's the only thing that's really missed in his past. And he's getting no ownership, and he's put up 30 twice already at 4,900. I think he's an interesting way to get a little bit different. So I don't mind that at all. but yeah, it's an interesting one. And then we've got mostly I'm going to be focused on baseball tonight because we've got a chance.
Dude,
here.
what a bad beat if you were going to come here for the game on Wednesday.
I know on Wednesday, and they're still my family. They're still trying to decide what to do because they sort of like want to do it as a bonding thing. But then they're like, well, wait a minute, we'd have to leave on a flight tonight, and you wouldn't know who the winner is necessarily.
Well, dude, so you don't want to say things come in 2s and 3s or whatever it is. So, you had your death in your family or whatever, and it was the same day as Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah,
I don't know if you caught that, but
yeah,
and then so the reason why I was out today, that my next door neighbor across the street, his father died a couple of days ago as well, and I went to the funeral today, and they spent about 20 minutes of like the 40 minutes of the eulogy, or whatever, talking about his love for the Dodgers.
Oh my God.
He grew up in Brooklyn, and he actually worked at Ebbets Field back in the 50s. He actually sold popcorn and peanuts, and and cried when they moved to LA and stuff like that. And there are 2 ways that people deal with that. One is that they follow and become like a lifelong Dodger fan, and the other is they vow to never put another dollar into O'Malley's pocket.
That's exactly
and they completely disown him. This guy happened to have disowned them and became a Met fan. But you could go one of 2 ways.
Right.
So I was thinking of that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. And I mean, even going through these struggles and everything with just all this stuff lately, but like even some of my, my uncles and stuff like that, who are like similar ages to me, a lot of them, they've been struggling with even watching the games, and they're like the legit, like the biggest Dodger fans ever. But it is funny because my grandfather's old friends from Brooklyn, even when they would come and visit, half of them absolutely love the Dodgers and worship them forever. Half of them wanted to never hear their name spoken around.
Right.
So it's just kind of interesting.
So it's really funny. So my wife was actually, she's not watching the games, but like sort of watching next to whatever. And I showed her the the Grand Slam from a couple of nights ago. Remember, like everybody's news feed is different. Like she didn't even realize, she didn't even know what happened.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I said, no, it's a really big deal and whatever. So I showed her, and then we were happened to be watching, and then Freeman hit like another home run, right?
Yeah.
And my wife doesn't know much about baseball. She says, well, why would they keep throwing him the ball like that if you could just throw the guy hit home runs? I'm like, that's a good point. Really? That's a pretty good point. And then like they showed him like hit another one, whatever he did. And she says, man, I don't know. He should like ask for more money next year. Yeah, good idea.
It's fair. We're all happy for him. There was a great bet thing though that I told a friend, but it wasn't into betting things. But like I noticed after the second game, the Dodgers were like almost 3-1 favorites to win the series, at up 2-0. But Freddie Freeman for some reason was plus 150. But basically by that point, even after the first 2 games, he's a lock to win the MVP of the series if they win the series. Right. So it was a very strange betting market thing that I told a friend to get in on. So he made a pretty hefty bet on Freeman as MVP, which is I think now like minus like 2,000 or something.
It's gotta be, right?
Yeah,
that's off the board. It's
it's ridiculous. All right, well, hey man, it's good to see you. So we'll be live.
I have a weird question. So who? Yeah. Well, we could speculate. It's totally impossible to speculate. Like if the Yankees won the World Series, like who would be MVP? Well, we can't know because we haven't seen what a Yankee win would look like yet. So
no, right.
literally don't know.
It could be somebody who hasn't played yet. It could be like Oswaldo Cabrera.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What is this game 4 now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe like Garrett Cole pitches like 2 complete game shutouts or something.
Yeah, two remaining.
4 and then game 7 off 3 days rest or something like that.
Something like that.
It certainly isn't any of the hitters.
No, the only one who's been hitting is Soto is the one who scares us all. But most of these walks.
Yeah, and Soto. It literally looks like Soto is like the only guy on the team right now.
Yeah, it's been really, really hard to watch offensive. Not a great offensive series so far, except for that incredible finish to Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, like the Yankees. I mean, the Dodgers are under their implied total every game.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't hit, you can't do anything, and you got Aaron Judge, who literally can't hit the ball right now. So
yeah, and you speak just real quickly about news feeds. It's really funny because when I've just spent a little time like scrolling through Twitter because you're doing things and you're trying to be there with your family, but at the same time you have to sort of have a little bit of distraction. And a lot of it, there's Yankees fans today that I was reading, and they're talking about the Yankees have dominated this series. They should be up 3. And other people saying, I hate this Yankee team. They're the worst ever. I kind of a performance. Like it's just so weird. And I'm like, I don't understand the people who are on the side that the Yankees should have been winning this series right now. I'm not really sure why they think that, but it's just funny how people have totally different interpretations of
the Yankees in game 1 were really good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. I posted on Twitter when he brought in Nestor Cortez, right? To pitch to Ohtani, right? Yeah. And as he starts to pitch, and literally as Ohtani fouls out or whatever, I'm like, I cannot believe that Boone might actually get away with this.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, no.
Yeah. No. It's pretty funny. It's also funny going back their whole history. Like he and Roberts played against each other in college for UCLA and USC. Yep. And then, and I've never heard David Roberts say a bad thing about any person. He's whether you like him or dislike him as a manager, like he never says a bad word. He hates Aaron Boone. He really doesn't like him. So he's like, I didn't care for him much then. I don't care for him much now. That's what he says. So
well, again, with the what people have been talking about. I mean, is that for me? Hold on. Let me see if I can get that. Hello. Oh, great. I'll be right there. All right, Bobby, I'm going to get going.
Okay, man. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, I'll see you in a little bit.